case Easy Rider is checking in for transport duty. Copy, Easy Rider.
Welcome back to the final video in this series. We're going to run through our checklist real quick to see where we stand. So far we've completed the ensure easy comms are enabled. We've set mission date and time and weather conditions. In this video we're going to set some mission metadata. We've added our pickup locations and our trigger zones. We're going to draw some shapes on our map to represent the kind of text blocks that tell us which our stations are for the end user to use. We're going to also add a flight plan, and we are going to add some radio frequency kneeboard images. This process will apply for adding kneeboard images to any mission that you create, so hopefully you stick around for long enough to find out how to do that. So in order to add our mission briefing data, we're going to go back to our library download folder. We're going to go into the briefing folder, and we can see that there are several files here that you can use to create the mission briefing information for your mission. All of the mission briefing consists of the mission briefing base and one of the helicopter mission briefing files. These come in different flavors depending on which aircraft you're using for your missions. We're just going to start with the UH-60 since that's the mission that we built. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump over to DCS. We are going to go to our mission briefing panel. We are going to copy all of the contents from our briefing base, including the extra line break that's needed. We're going to paste that here. We are then going to switch over to our UH-60 portion of the mission briefing. We're going to select all and copy that. Switch back over to DCS, and we're just going to paste this in. So this will create our complete mission briefing. This is the same mission briefing we use in all of our missions in the mission bundles. The last thing that we need to do is we never updated the name of the sortie. So we're going to go ahead and give this the same name as our mission. Easiest way to do that is to go to our missions folder. And I'm just going to copy the folder name. The last thing that we want to do here is, again, if we look at the briefing folder, if we go up one level, we can see that there are some splash images here. For all of our mission bundle missions, we use the bundle logo 1 image. Feel free to use any of these images that you'd like. But if you want to be consistent with the missions that we've created in our bundles, go ahead and use this first image. So we're going to go ahead and click here to add image agHTM bundle logo 1 as our briefing image. Now if we save the mission and we attempt to run the mission, we'll see here's our briefing image and here's all of our briefing text that we added. Let me go ahead and cancel. And save my mission. In order to add our kneeboard images, we're going to go up one level, and we have a folder here called kneeboard. The structure of this folder is very important. Inside of your kneeboard folder, notice the case, all caps. We have a folder called images, again, all caps, and this contains all of the images that we want to include in our mission. We have created for you kneeboard images for 1 pickup location, 2 pickups, 3 pickups, 4 pickups, 5 pickups. If you notice, the radio frequencies increment by 1 for one of the digits. This makes tuning the nav radios easy because you're really only changing one knob at a time to get to the correct frequency. You can opt to include all of these images, or you could opt to just include the image that represents your mission, in this case the 5 pickups. We're going to go ahead and add all of these images just to show you the process for adding them. So going back up to my folder that contains my kneeboard folder. Right now if I switch to DCS and I run the mission, I'm just going to go ahead and pick our Easy Rider slot. if I bring up the kneeboard right now and I cycle through, we'll see that once we go past the map images, we don't see anything around the mission. All we see is the startup kneeboard for the Blackhawk that I've added to my local file structure. Back to the editor. Now, this process actually takes place outside of DCS. As mentioned previously, a DCS mission file really is nothing more than a zip file, as we can demonstrate here. So if I go to my saved games, missions, and we drill into our actual mission file. If I take this file and I rename this file to .zip, I can go ahead and I can open this file and see, or folder rather, and see what's inside of it. So we have some information about our mission. It's used by DCS when the mission is created. And then we have this L10N folder. In here is a folder by default called default, which contains all of the assets that we added through our embedding process. So this contains all of our audio files, all of our script files, our mission briefing image, etc. If I go back up to my root here, in order to add my mission kneeboard images, all I have to do is drag this kneeboard folder into my mission at the root level. That's it. So now I can go ahead and go up one level, and I'm going to now rename this back to a .mis file. And very important, I'm not going to see my changes until I pull this file back in. Right now DCS has a temporary copy loaded, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reopen my mission. Now if I go ahead and run this mission, again choosing my Easy Rider slot, and now if I bring up the kneeboard, as I cycle backwards through it past the map images, I now have my radio frequency kneeboards added. So this is a great value add for the people who end up flying your mission down the road, whether you choose to fly it yourself, 6 months down, or you choose to share it with others. It's a good reference for people to use. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and back to the mission editor, and we're going to save our file. Next up, the only remaining thing that we have to do is to add the graphics that we had mentioned. In order to do this so that the map, the F10 map, looks presentable to your users, you're going to want to zoom your map or your mission to the extents that are possible. In other words, so everything just fits in the screen and is centered within the screen. This is most likely the closest to the view that your users will use when flying the mission. So we're going to go to the Draw panel, and we're going to select the text box button, and here we are going to create a block that simply says alpha, and we're going to click it right on the map where our alpha station is. Now because I'm in the Draw panel already, the one thing that I want to do is I want to make it so that these objects are visible to the person who is playing the mission. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to name this alpha, and we're going to change the binding layer to common. Author means that it's only going to be visible in the mission editor. If we set it to common, it'll be available to anyone flying the mission. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this fob boundary to my common layer as well. Now that I have an instance of my text block created, I'm just going to select it, hit Control-C to copy, and I'm going to paste it for each of my other waypoints, and I'm going to include one for my fob. So the fob, so we have alpha, this one is Bravo. A little trick, if you start in the text field versus the name field and type something like Bravo, you can just copy this, hit tab one time, and it tabs to the next field in the wrong order, so it jumps right to the name field, so you can just hit paste. Bravo. Charlie. Delta. And Echo. So we've created our graphics now for our waypoints. May want to move these around a little bit. Delta is kind of being concealed. I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the side here. And the last thing that we want to do is we want to add a flight plan so that before someone takes off on your transport mission, presumably they would have access to maps and things like that. They'll have a visual on what the flight plan is that they're going to be flying. The easiest way to do this is to zoom right in on our transport helicopter. We're already on the Draw tab, so I'm going to now choose the line option. I'm going to set my color to white, and I'm going to set my thickness to 4, just because that's what we use for all of our mission bundle missions. I'm going to click on our Easy Rider helicopter. That creates an anchor point with the line that's floating attached to that anchor point. So now I can go to my alpha location, zoom all the way in. I'm just going to click one time, creates a new anchor, and now I can continue with my line segments. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for all of our waypoints. Echo. And finally back to our initial location where we land. I have this one last little piece of line that's remaining once I click my last point. In order to get out of there, I'm just going to go ahead and hit escape, which closes the draw panel. I'm going to reopen the draw panel. I'm going to make sure that I have select chosen, not line. By choosing select, I can simply click on this object down here, set its layer to common, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a name of flight plan. Save my mission. I'm going to again zoom out so that my mission extents are within the frame. I'm going to save my mission. This concludes our series on using agHTM in a new or existing mission. We hope you found this video informative. By this point, everything you need to create your own agHTM missions from scratch or to overlay agHTM on top of an existing mission like we did here should be within your reach. We look forward to seeing what you do with agHTM in your own missions. Once again, I'm Coder from Amoeba Games. Thanks for watching. Coder out. If you like these videos, don't forget to click the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Coder out.